We're gonna start this video off by saying thank you to Donald Trump, ICE, and the federal agents. They have successfully ended slavery once again. Now, Phoenix was never a slave state in Arizona. However, we have modern day slavery. Because of modern day slavery, the young Americans in this state have been out of summer jobs for 30 years. You've had a good run if you're a business here that have employed wages, no benefits under the table. You had a good run. Now your run is over. I don't know if anybody heard the saying about paying the piper, but you will owe him eventually. You can't commit crimes for a living and then think that it's not eventually going to catch up with you. It might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, but eventually they're coming. Hiring employees that are illegals and don't have citizen status is a federal crime, whether we were immediately enforcing it or not. These businesses that have been hiring illegals instead of Americans are going to have to pay the price. Eventually, Zips, which has many locations around the valley, I live about 5 minutes from one. I ate there a couple weeks ago. My cousin is smacking up a chick that works there. Good food. But the problem is this: those jobs were meant for young Americans, bus boys, cooks, waiters. These are jobs that were meant for Americans. They have not had any access to them. For 30 years, we have not had jobs where we could work at car washes or warehouses or convenience stores. We, as Americans, were boxed out. I speak Spanish. So I was able to get jobs that my black friends and my white friends were boxed out of because it was a requirement in your own country for you to be able to speak Spanish to qualify for these positions. Imagine that you need to know a foreign language in your home country. Because of Trump, I never want to press one for English ever again, even though I am quadlingual. It's not fair to the people who were raised to eventually be able to go into these fields. You're 16 years old. You're looking to get a job as a busboy. You might want to get some internship somewhere, but there's a 35-year-old illegal with kids and a mortgage to pay or a rent to pay, and they're going to hire him for the jobs that were meant for you, to introduce you into the workforce, to get you started on your adult life. They sent the illegals to work, but they sent you and your kids to the welfare line. Those days are over. We're done with the slavery. I thought we were Americans. Don't black people talk to you all the time about slavery? Isn't everything in reference to slavery? Why are you so comfortable supporting slavery of brown people? I don't want to see your protests. I don't want to hear your complaints. I will humor them for content, but I'm not going to take you seriously. I thought we agreed that no one likes slavery. But who's going to clean your toilets? Who's going to? That's the same argument as the freaking Confederates made. Who's going to pick the cotton? Who's going to do the labor? Who's going to clean your toilets? Who's going to take care of your kids? Those are the same arguments the Confederacy made when they were speaking with the North in the negotiations through Lincoln about ending slavery in the South, which led to the Civil War. Just for it to continue in modern day, except we're going to be exploiting foreigners, I can't agree with it. Now, slavery is still a part of the normal human dynamic worldwide. There's, 50 million slaves still around the world? You got slavery in Dubai. When they bring the people from Bangladesh and from Thailand, these other people, they bring them there. They're essentially slaves, indentured servants. It's literally an open slave trade in Libya. There's slavery all over this. There's millions of them in India and in China. But every freaking day, we are reminded about the horrors of slavery from 200 years ago. But yet there's slavery going on today in other parts of the world that nobody wants to ignore. These people that are coming here from these other countries that are being paid slave wages, they are slaves as well. The same veracity and anger towards that institution must be faced now. Consider us doing these raids and deporting these people an act of mercy. Consider it liberation. They're welcome.
Locations where the feds were serving those warrants, including the restaurant at Park Central in Phoenix, which is really just a few blocks away from ICE headquarters.
And that's where Casey Torres continues our live team coverage tonight. Casey.
Well, there is the possibility that some of the people detained in today's ZIPS operations were collateral arrests, meaning they were not the intended target, but they were there and found to be undocumented. And I have confirmed that a married couple that had worked at the ZIPS on Central and Osborne were among those detained today. Their immigration lawyer tells me that they are from Mexico and they have been here for the past 15 years. Now, I want to show you the tense moments that we saw earlier today, just a few hours ago, outside of that ZIPS, again on Central and Osborne. We saw dozens of people crowding agents. The protesters were yelling at the agents to leave. Some people were standing inches away from the officers. And we talked with one woman who says these operations feel just like things are getting worse and worse.
Why do they got to say it like that? What do you mean they were inches away from the officers? These are not tigers wearing federal agent uniforms. These are not lions. These are men. These are officers. These are agents. If you're not attacking them, they're not going to attack you. They are no threat to you. If you're an American, you're a law-abiding citizen, then you should feel no threat. However, if you're there with ill intentions, maybe you were taking these classes on how to aggress and fight with and resist federal agents and customs enforcement, to basically resist law enforcement. If you were taking those classes, get a refund, because they're not going to work. You're going to end up pretty good. That's pretty much the local saying in Minnesota, right? You don't want to end up like those people. Those classes don't work. Whatever they're training you to do when it comes to how to get out of law enforcement, it's fail. There is no reimagining how to handle arresting people, detaining them, sending them to prison, deport. There is no reimagining. There's no easier way to do it. Now, there was an option that was on the table a year ago today. Donald J. Trump offered these people a chance to self-deport, and they would be handsomely compensated. They chose to spit in the face of our president and the American people who voted for him to enforce our standing immigration laws. Because of that, the sympathy is removed from the table. This was not spontaneous. People keep bringing up Anne Frank. Okay, what if the Nazis gave Anne Frank's family ample notice that they were coming? Maybe you wouldn't have to hide in the attic. And if they said, hey, we're going to pay you to leave the country, if her family decided to turn the money down, well, then whose fault is that? That's why those are not fair comparisons. These people had notice. They had time, 15 to 20 years in this country, and you never wanted to make arrangements to become a citizen because you don't respect us. You don't respect our laws. You never wanted to assimilate. You never even wanted to learn English, and you've been here for years. I have an uncle and a cousin who I said the same thing to them today when they brought this up. You choose to not want to learn the language, you don't want to assimilate, then you should not be here. And you should not be upset when eventually you're deported, because you're not an American. America is for Americans. Yeah, I'm of Cuban descent, but I haven't been Cuban for a long time. I'm an American first. I'm American only.
They're not after the worst of the worst. I don't know what they're doing. And people think, well, they won't come after me until they do. And it's frightening.
And at one point, I saw an officer pushing one of the protesters, and I talked with that protesters moments after that happened. He told me there was a verbal confrontation between him and the officer. Basically, one was telling the other to leave, and that's when he says that the officer put his hands on him first. I did not see the protesters try to do anything to the officer. That officer walked away. No one was hurt as far as I could see, and things did not escalate any further, but there were just very high emotions tonight. And
it doesn't matter if law enforcement is putting their hands on you or not. We have something called not just federal supremacy, but federal immunity, meaning this is like the time of war. When we are in other countries and the locals are getting aggressive, and I don't care if they just have sandals and rocks. I don't care if they have twigs and burqas. It doesn't matter to me. You stay in your place. There is no other, you guys don't understand how this works. There's no one coming to arrest the soldiers in another country who are fighting with the locals. There's no one coming to arrest the federal agents, the federal agents are the ones who come and arrest the police. There are no police above the federal agents that are going to come and arrest them. Please stay out of their way. Stay safe. If you get into an argument with them or if you get into a fight, you are likely to not survive. That is a guarantee. Now, you can play a stupid game and you can win a dumbass prize, but don't cry later. At least before you go out there and make an ass out of yourself and throw your life away, make arrangements for where your pets are going to live and where you are going to be buried so your family is not all of a sudden out of the blue stuck with making your post-mortem arrangements. Don't do your family that disservice. If this is your goal, if your goal is to go out there and fight with the police, good luck. God, we wish you Godspeed. These men are being paid $200,000 a year because we understand that you are a liberal and we're removing your voter base. Without illegal immigration, without illegal voting, there are no Democrats. Well, there's two. There's blacks and there's gays. Those two communities are diminishing. The gay population is not able to recruit because we have been putting in measures to stop them from grooming. The black community, unfortunately, has been heavily vaccinated and many are passing away. So the Democrat Party, their plan was to replace them with illegals. We are now removing their illegals, but they shot themselves in the foot by poisoning the black community. Therefore, there is no one coming to replace those votes. There will not be illegal voting. There will be security on federal voting. You will need identification, and they're probably going to make that a holiday going forward so that everyone can be there to make their votes. That's why they're nervous about these midterms. Without illegal voting being allowed and these illegal voting still being in the country, there's not going to be much of a midterm. This country will be a Christian conservative majority once again. It was a false bubble. It was due to fraud that you were even thinking this country was liberal. Due to fraud, you really thought Texas was purple, didn't you? You thought Florida was purple until Ron DeSantis secured his elections and made sure fraud wasn't allowed. Now you understand the truth about where you live. And guess what? Living here is an option that every day you can choose to not do. If there's another country that's more in line with your beliefs, feel free to go there. If you think these illegals are special, why don't you book a flight to their home country? And why aren't you awaiting them with open arms when they are landing from their deportation flights? You can help them get situated, find them housing, put your money where your mouth is, help make El Salvador great again, Honduras great again, Guatemala great again. You can make Mexico great again. You do not have to be here under ICE, under Trump, under the American people. This is our mandate. We voted for this specifically, and we knew it was not going to be pretty. It never is. Ending somebody's hustle, stopping their scam has never been something that is easy. It's what makes the fact that it's hard is why we needed someone strong in office. We have him. Trump's our warrior. He is literally doing our will, and we appreciate him. Like and subscribe, share the video. Let me know if you agree with me in the comments. We're going to go ahead and continue.
We talked with people and I asked them, what about your safety? We have seen this happen in Minnesota where things turned fatal between immigration law enforcement officers and protesters. And they tell me that they are willing to put their lives at risk.
Go for it.
Following their long-held tradition of attacking landscapers and cooks.
Go be a landscaper and cook in your home country. Fun fact, California is the fourth largest economy in the world. Another fun fact, Mexico is only number 6. So out of 193 countries, Mexico is number 6. So you could just go 2 down the list and not have to go through dealing with ICE, dealing with Trump, dealing with our Congress, dealing with Don Homeland. You don't have to deal with us. You don't have to. You have another option south of the border. Go make these other countries great again. We do not need a monopoly on immigration. People tell me, Rico, Aren't your family immigrants? We sure were. Past tense. We did the right things. We became citizens. We love this country. We're patriots. You guys are literally cheering for other countries to destroy us and people from other countries to come here and win against us. You're hoping we lose. Just because you have citizenship and you speak English does not mean you're an American. You're not the same type of American I am. We're just, you just happen to be born here. It's a big difference. So what we're doing now is we're removing and we're making those separations. Make no mistakes about it. We are in a conflict right now. This is a civil strife. I wouldn't go as far as saying a war, but to make this American omelet, some eggs are going to have to be broken.
ICE is out right now in Phoenix, raiding all the zips. This is the one on McClintock. This is the one on Central. And the thing is, if they're going after two of them, they're probably going after all of them.
Hey, listen, we're all here. We're open for debate. If you have a point you want to make, put it in there and we'll talk about it.
About 15 zips in the valley. Now, what they're going to say is that this has to do with some sort of, identity theft. But the problem with that is that we know that usually when this happens, it's HSI. HSI is.
Let's go ahead and talk about what he just said. What he is confirming is this: Zips corporate and Zips' management is doing what they're doing is identity theft, meaning they are giving these illegals social security numbers that probably belong to dead Americans or Americans that have not been born yet or Americans who are children. And that's how they're able to get around where they do the verification to get them hired. There's pretty much only one way this ever gets exposed. I go to Zips. It's right around the corner from me because I'm in Arizona right now. I didn't go back to Texas because of this whole ice storm. But the reason what they do is they take somebody's identity. That's how they get around the verification part to make sure that you're not hiring an illegal. Somebody on the inside at Zips snitched. Zips had a whistleblower. It's probably, I'll be honest, it's going to be a disgruntled ex-employee who was fired, maybe someone in their corporate, maybe a manager who said, hey, this is wrong. We should not be using fake identities, knowing that these are fake and accepting these from these employees. They fired that person. That person went and became a whistleblower. They are going to be compensated. Let me ask Arthur, quick question. Hey, Arthur, quick question. How much is the federal government paying whistleblowers who are exposing companies that are hiring illegals to work for them under the table? How much are they paying the whistleblowers in 2026 and 2025?
There isn't a standard flat rate payment for whistleblowers in cases like these. Instead, under federal law, whistleblowers may receive a percentage of what the government recovers if any penalties or back taxes are collected. Under the False Claims Act or IRS whistleblower programs, this can range from about 15 to 30% of the recovered amount. The exact percentage depends on the case and cooperation. If you have a specific program or law in mind, we could look deeper.
Shit, man, 15 to 30%. So, Arthur, let me ask you a question. When it comes to this company that we're talking about, Zips, when you look up, how much do you think somebody might make for blowing the whistle on Zips? How much do you think the whistleblower or multiple whistleblowers are going to make off of this Zips case?
Without specifics on the penalties involved, I can only give a rough projection. If a federal investigation into illegal employment practices results in significant fines, e.g. for wage, tax, or immigration violations, the total amount recovered might range anywhere from thousands to potentially millions, depending on the scale of violations. For context, large-scale immigration employment fines have sometimes exceeded millions in high-profile cases. If the Zips case turns out to yield, hypothetically, a few $1 million in total fines or recovery, a whistleblower could be looking at something in the hundreds of thousands to potentially over $1 million, depending on what percentage is awarded. But until official penalties are disclosed, if any, this is purely speculative. The actual outcome depends on the specifics of the case.
Okay, give me a rough estimate. How many employees did Zip have, and how many locations here in the Phoenix Valley? How many locations does Zip have?
It looks like I couldn't retrieve the exact details online, so I'll give you a grounded approximation. Zip Sports Grill, as of recent reports, operates roughly 13 to 15 locations in the Phoenix metro area. For a casual dining chain like Zips, each location might employ between 30 to 50 people, depending on size and shifts. Roughly, you could be looking at a few hundred employees total across all sites. Again, without official records, it's an estimation, but grounded in typical industry staffing levels.
I appreciate Arthur. Thank you. So 15 to 30 employees, 15 locations. And I'll be honest, who are the only people there that are Americans? Probably their head manager, probably the head chef, probably the main, probably a couple of the staffers. Everyone else that's working in these locations is likely illegal, working for slave wages. Now that I think about it, all the bus boys, when I was there last time, you can tell they were likely illegal. They didn't speak a lick of English. There were a couple people that did speak English. The bartender spoke English. The hostess in the front, and there was a manager. He was walking around. He's wearing glasses. He looks pretty American. Nobody else there. So these people were building their empires. Their business empires were literally being built off of modern day slavery. The reason I say it's an empire because a penny saved is a penny earned. Think about how much money these companies are saving by not having to pay American fair American wages, even minimum American wage, and not having to pay for benefits, not having to pay maternity, not having to pay for dental plans. You can just literally give these people payments under the table, no taxes. But then if they're using a fake identity, there's definitely a way that they're also saving money there. So that's why they're bringing in the feds and these different agencies. It's not just about hiring illegals. It's about the fact that they were committing fraud and likely some probably grand larceny if they're using the identities of people who are still alive or maybe are newly born. That's another big reason why this is necessary. The beautiful thing is this, again, if you have children, right? When your kids grow up, they're going to have summer jobs. We did the estimate, 30 years. It's been 30 years in these big cities since American children that were coming of age, 16, 17, were able to have summer jobs. Just think about it. When was the last time you seen an English-speaking American young person working at a car wash? I can tell you when the last time I saw it, 1997.
Part of DHS. They also work with ICE. They also work with Border Patrol. Basically, their job is to go and they'll audit a company and look for people who are not allowed to work.
I'll be honest, Arthur probably could give you sports gambling tips, but what he's going to do is just going to look up the odds, and they already do that on the sports betting sites. They'll tell you who's likely to win, but what if it's an upset? What if the underdog wins? Arthur can't tell you the odds of winning with the underdog. They already do that on the sports sites. So that's the only, trust me, I've tried. I'm trying to get Arthur to build me a hell of a parlay. Don't get me wrong. I did hit once. I made $2,000 off of $5, but that was like one time back in like September last year. And I probably spent all that money trying to hit it again and it didn't work. But thank you all for leaving comments and tuning into the stream. Like the video, subscribe to the channels. I do appreciate you all. Appreciate you all being here. Let's get back to the topic.
There. Normally what would happen is they'd be like, hey, these people are questionable. I need you to, either verify their information or get rid of them. And then they come back in, 1 or 2 months, and then they give people like, hey, did you get, those people? Did you verify their information? Blah, 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 blah. Maybe at the worst, you would get like a fine if you don't fire those people. Now that's not what's happening. Now they're showing up in force. They are raiding these places. And not only are they going after the people that they supposedly think might be undocumented, they're also going to start to question anybody in the area, any patrons of the restaurant, anybody who has an accent, anybody who, looks suspicious to them. Because remember, thanks to Kavanaugh stops, now they can racially profile you. And because they're going to claim that this has to do with identity theft, even if you have ID, it's not a sure thing that they're going to believe, because they're going to.
I'll be honest. In my opinion, there's nothing wrong with racially profiling anyone. How else are you supposed to figure out who you're trying to arrest? All racial profiling is pattern recognition. If there is a target group that fits a certain pattern, just because you're looking for those patterns, because you're trying to find certain people, that's how you're going to conflate that with racial profile. I mean, call it what you want to. We have federal supremacy, so you can call it whatever you want. If you know like, you know by, you can leave the country. You can complain about it all you want. Cry hard as you want. It's not going to matter. We have federal supremacy. So if we want to go there and say, hey, you don't sound like you have a Wisconsin accent. It sounds like you're from further north or further east or further south. We're going to need to see your paperwork. And if you don't want to comply, we're taking you away. And if you want to get booked under a John Doe, you could possibly be deported. And then you'll have to buy your way back into the United States and pay for your own plane ticket simply because you didn't want to, you didn't want to cooperate. Tell us your name. If you know you're here illegally, if you know you're here illegally, you got to do what's best for you and your family. The best thing for you to do is self-deport. See, the purpose of a raid on a business like this is not because you're like, oh, we're going to catch 100,000 people in one restaurant. No. 100,000 people are going to see these raids. They're going to see the horror stories of what these people are going to, who are being deported, who were not smart enough to self-deport. And it's going to inspire those who are on the fence or just considering fighting the feds. It's going to make them reconsider and say, you know what? Pack up. It's time for us to leave. We'll figure this out another time in the future, but at least we're going to stay alive. And at least we have a chance of coming back to the country later. This is going to inspire those who are literally still here, who did not self-deport yet. This is going to inspire them to self-deport and follow our mandates.
They can, and they have before made the argument that, well, we're not sure this is real. They're not sure this is you. You've seen a lot of people who get detained and then they show ID and they're like, we don't believe you. That's what happens. So if you're close to a zips right now in Phoenix, might be a good time to come check on your boys.
Nah, there's nothing. Why would I come check on them? What can I do with a camera? I don't care what you get them on tape doing. There's no one coming for them. There is no higher. Who do you think is going to come? Thor? Zeus? You think the Avengers are going to show up and start grabbing federal agents? There is nobody above them. I don't think you guys understand how this works. That's why I'm like, how are you an American? You never took civics. You don't really know how this country works. And you kind of have this weird twisted idea because you watch too much TV. Well, the TV is rotting your brain. That's not how it works in the real world. In the real world, might matters. We have the military, we have the weapons, we have the manpower. That means we make the rules. We don't negotiate with you. This is not up to, we humor other people, other states in the past, but we have federal supremacy, meaning we don't have to negotiate with these places. There is no that you can cry and tell you should leave. Make us leave, Governor Waltz. Make us leave. These other people in these other states that want ICE out of their cities, make us. Oh, you can't. So cry harder and stop wasting everybody's time and get to work and get out of our way.
All right, let's go live to Zip Sports Grill, this location at Park Central in Phoenix. Skyfox live over the scene at Central Avenue and Early Drive. Homeland Security investigations raiding 15 Zip Sports Grill locations across the metro area. And what you're seeing right now is people gathered outside the Park Central location. They were observing the activity and recording video on their phones. We just got information into our newsroom that it appears federal agents have left the scene in about 6 or 7 cars. So it appears that people are also leaving the scene as well. Homeland Security has not disclosed the nature of this investigation. We are asking those questions, though. Stay with Fox 10 for updates throughout the evening.
Yeah, people are starting to figure out that there's no point in us being here. We can't do anything. All the whistles we're blowing, everything we're yelling at these agents, they're still literally going full steam ahead. We're not making a dent. We're not even slowing them down. We're wasting our time and our breath and our energy. Maybe we have kids. Maybe we can go home and be with them. Go ice skating. Go drink coffee. Go eat some ice cream. You can do all types of American things. And you're not really protesting because how do you protest against enforcing laws? The laws of a country are what you accept to live under when you choose to be there. If your lifestyle and your beliefs ever come in conflict with the local laws of that country, you're going to have to change countries. They're not going to change their laws. I've lived in 7 different countries around the world. I've never been in another country and was like, I don't like the fact that I'm going to get deported if I overstay my visa. Let me go down there and start screaming at the police. It's never worked in another country. It's not going to work here. The United States is not special. Every country has laws and law enforcement. If you're looking for lawlessness, keep looking. You're not going to find it here. You're not going to find it in any Western nation. You're going to have to go somewhere deep in a jungle somewhere. And even there, everybody has rules. If you don't want to live under them, choose where you live.
I'm really hoping that the right people see this. If you are in, it's about ice raids. There are ice raids actively happening right now on Scottsdale Road in Tempe and Scottsdale, Arizona.
Yeah, I'm in Scottsdale right now. This happened literally 6 minutes from me, 5 minutes, maybe a 5-minute walk from me. It's happening. It has to happen. Our American young children need jobs. Our American adults need jobs. Now, in other states like California, my friends who even hate Trump are back to work and they have to concede that, okay, yeah, it is kind of great that I'm able to get work again because he's gotten rid of all the illegal slave labor. Because if you think about it, as an American, you can't compete with a slave. Why do you think we get all of these phones and stuff from China? Why do you think they don't make them here? An American-based company out of San Francisco is getting all of their products from China and they just brand them and stamp them over here and sell them to you. Why do you think we're not building them over? Why do you think we're not building them here? It's because in China, there's slave labor. You want your cheap stuff, then just admit, I like slavery. The rest of us that have a choice, I'd rather get rid of the slave labor, and companies have to reimagine new ways to hire young Americans. These young Americans nowadays have no prospects of ever owning a home, ever having a family, and our society is disintegrating. It gives pride to a man when he can get hired and he can work and support his family. But what good does that do an American when you apply for a job and they ask that you are bilingual to be hired? That's good for me. It's bad for an American. It's bad for regular Americans, and that's not fair. So because of that, we have to rip this Band-Aid off and we have to do the heavy lifting ourselves. Our children need jobs. And if it comes down to our children working or these illegals working, then these illegals have to go straight to fucking hell because it's Americans first and Americans only.
Literally, I drove by 3 ice raids. It's on McDowell and Scottsdale Road. It's on McKellips and Scottsdale Road. It's on the AZ 202 and Scottsdale Road.
Well, there's no zips on the 202 on Scottsdale Road. There's nothing over there but an In-N-Out. There used to be a Denny's. There's some apartment complex, a boxing gym. There are some, there's a Starbucks. There's like a little plaza right there, but there's no zips. So that what that means is that multiple locations that are known to harbor slaves and have slave labor have been hit today. What that means is in the subsequent weeks preceding this, when these businesses majestically reopen, they will be hiring. But guess who they will be hiring instead this time for the first time in 15, 20, 30 years? They're going to be hiring Americans that go to ASU College right around the corner. They're going to be hiring Americans that go to Mesa College right up the street, Scottsdale Community College right up the road. They're going to be hiring Americans again. That is literally the definition of making America great again, because the bottom line of the citizens is a priority. Again, everybody who you think should be a priority in front of Americans, write down their country of origin and fly there. Go.
Great. Please share this so people know.
Yeah, the feds are in full force. The feds they're ready for this. After what they've seen in these other states, they weren't playing any games. Also, Arizona's not known for being a pushover state. This is a fuck around and find out state. It's not Texas, it's not Florida, but it's close. Immigrants are our friends. Prove it. Fly down to one of their countries and greet them at the airport. But all this virtue signaling talk is cheap. Look at these people showing up with a mask and arms. But guess what he's not going to do? He's not going to pull it out. He's not going to make a mistake. He's not going to use it. It's a prop. He's wearing a costume. Oh, I want to show up as a some kind of a ski mask guy. I'm Mr. AR-15. You're not about to shoot it out with the feds. So why'd you bring it? It's a prop. You didn't save one illegal from deportation. Stop wasting your time. Go home. Go home, Roger. What they say on Sister, go home, Roger. Okay, so this is Marcus Houston right now. He's wearing a mask. He's wearing a black clad with a gun. Go home, Roger. No one's believing you. We don't believe you. I made a theme that said, whistle if you love ice. And, when you look at the crowd and the makeup, these are not people that have children. For the most part, you can even look at the men. You can tell they're gay. And you can tell a lot of the women are gay also, and they're feminists. There's no self-respecting people that are Americans with children who have families, because we're the ones who want this. We want our children to be able to participate in society one day. We've lost 3 generations due to illegal immigrants, to gangs, to kids being on welfare, to kids being discouraged from even wanting to proceed in life because they cannot find gainful employment. How do you compete with a slave? You cannot. And then if they say, okay, look, we're willing to give you the job instead of the slave, but can you speak the slave's language? Can you speak Spanish? That's a requirement if you want to work for any of these cities. If you want to work in any of these industries, they're going to want you to be bilingual. Isn't that strange? You have to learn a foreign language in your home country. Like I said, by the time this is over, I'll never have to press 1 for English again, which is perfectly fine with me. America first, Americans only. Hey, Coach, bro. It's good to see you, Coach. Glad you tuned in. And we're going to stop and look at her. I wish she wasn't there because that's a waste of a nice shape on a person. She should not be there protesting. She should be somewhere in my kitchen cooking something up for me. Daddy getting kind of hungry. Okay, now you over there wasting your time at Zips. You could be over here putting something nice together. But people don't understand, even when you're a woman and you support these causes, it's going to make it hard for you to find a man because men, the kind of men that you think, the men that marry women are conservatives. That's one of the most traditional conservative things you can do is actually marry a woman. The most Democrat supporting liberal thing you can do as a man is marry a man. So, these people are shooting themselves in the foot. I don't know what they're hoping to accomplish, but these 2 boyfriends right here are wearing matching leather jackets, which is suspect. You don't want to be a part of this crowd. They're on the wrong side of history, but they're not bucking up too much in Arizona because they know the police here just don't play. Law enforcement is not going to play with them. Wouldn't 1 camera suffice? I mean, wouldn't you guys all be getting basically the same footage? I don't understand. It seems rather redundant, but go off. And not 1 illegal was spared. Not 1 hard drive was dropped. Nothing was stopped because of these people showing up and making a bunch of noise. So then what was the purpose? You've accomplished nothing. So again, if you're going to speak in favor of slavery in the modern day, then you can't bring up slavery from 200 years ago to try to shame people into submission. You can't have it both ways. You're either pro-slavery or against it. There's no way you can be against slavery, but then out here protesting so that the slaves don't get deported and they can keep their slave labor jobs. You cannot have it both ways. So do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll be back on with another subject in about 20 minutes, but I did order some takeout from Zips earlier. It didn't come here, so I have to make some food now for myself. So if you can, like to the channel, subscribe to the like the video, subscribe to it. When you do subscribe, it pushes me into the algorithm. People can see my videos and they come back. Go ahead and check me out. I do tons of pro-America, pro-Trump, right-wing leaning commentary on different news articles. And I try to explain to people what's happening in layman's terms. People just seem to be so confused when it comes to this immigration topic. So I'm here to calibrate their moral compass. It seems like it might be a little bit out of whack. If you're here in the United States and you're following me, you should be America first also. However, if there's another country that you want to put in front of America, you should relocate there as soon as you can. That way you don't run into any conflict with the feds. And then we force you to go there and then you can never return. Because this is the greatest place on earth, right? I mean, if it's not, then what are you doing here? Like and subscribe, share the video. I'll be back shortly with another video. America first, America only.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.